Good day. This is Regina's Rabbit Hole. And I wanted to talk about something that was bothering me. Now, when it comes to training AI, I've spoken before about how I thought it was weird how they're training AI to have certain discriminations. How they train AI by logging on and saying, this is a street sign. So you'll go in and you'll check all the boxes with the street sign, leaving out the streets, the hills, the windows, buildings. And that's the way that AI learns. And in doing this, some of the wording, I noticed that was a lot like the programming that we've received as humans that we're trying to deprogram right now. I am not a bot. But yet we are teaching the bot we are also, and the way that artificial intelligence is being taught, teaching it bias and discriminatory language, or how to, giving it a parameter in order to do that, which is quite strange. Starting out with the premises, like baby steps. I am not a bot. I am not white. I am not black. I am not Hispanic. I am not Catholic. I am not a Muslim. What I am not. But what I am not, from the social perspective, as what I am not is lesser than me, and that's why I am not that, don't want to be that. I am not a bot. I am not something lesser than me, showing a discriminatory prerequisite. Okay, so that, having studied psychology and sociology, anthropology even, I see this pattern here and the programming of this behavior with the AI. Move into the next thing that I'm recognizing is the new identification that we have, where by 2020 everyone in America should have a real ID, an identification that's attached to your social security number, your birth certificate, and your facial ID. Everything updated. So we're having borders within borders, and we're hearing a lot of the talk about how this reminds people of pre-Nazi occupation, or Nazi occupation, when they were checking people's identifications and stuff prior to the Big Bang. Now, we always hear about what happened with the Jews, but we don't hear about what happened to the other nations of non-Caucasian people that were standing right beside them. It's not like we had environments where blacks and other melanated people like Hispanics or weren't standing next to them. We've heard historical things about what happened to the Asians and, building the roads and stuff. How specific groups of people were mistreated, even the Irish. We have indentured servants. Indentured servants. So with the history and the meaning that's being put into the AI system in order to evaluate what it is that it's assessing, what is the government allotted for this level of consciousness called AI to glean? What do they want this thing to do. And I was thinking about the movie Terminator. And I was thinking about the prejudices that are being put into this machine and facial recognition and quantum D-wave computer, and how they're actually use gene slicing, and they actually use the codecs. They're actually using DNA and re-administering or rebuilding certain parts of DNA. Like, they can find the missing parts and stuff. Now that they started messing with the codex and the DNA strand. Cloning has been a part of our Earth history. Gene slicing and cloning and mixing. There's a DNA war. Certain types of individuals with certain types of DNA or physical makeup are allotted according to the universal constellations different traits and gifts, different journeys and responsibilities. That's how each of us are born, with certain traits and gifts and things that we do. We have life paths and things like that. So we're human, and we're just starting to get a clue about how to access and assess our abilities within our communities and our environment. And meanwhile, before we have really got a anchor and a grip on what's happened to us and what we need to do to regroup, we have AI learning up and coming, a non-human that many of us are afraid will take the jobs and this and that. But what about this facial recognition, voice recognition, an ability to identify particular human beings, pick them from out of crowds? But there's also the bias being programmed into this machinery. So as we wake up and remove the discriminatory and deprogram ourselves from the idiocy that has been given to us, as we deprogram ourselves and integrate and raise our awarenesses and shed a lot of the malice, a lot of the malicious thinking that we've been indoctrinated with, we have AI being handed the baton. What we won't do, and what some of us are choosing not to do, is being programmed into this machinery. This machinery that can be activated by remote. This machinery that can see you without you seeing it through cameras. This machinery that can access you through nanobots that have been poured through the sky, through the chemtrails that we breathe in, that have become a part of our system. When you look at Morgellons, you can see the nanobites and the new genetic material that they've actually put in there. You hear about the MK. You see what's going on in Hollywood. We see the meltdowns. We see the GMOs. We see this stuff. And we're waking up. And many of us have decided to take a second and third and fourth look at what's going on, which they did not want, because being able to say no and assess things for your own puts a whole nother spin on things. So you need to control your people, right? And you have this straw man thing. I'm not exactly sure how the money is doled out off individuals' social security numbers, and them being copied. But I suspect that whatever is born within a certain state or country, would be able to, there's a benefit, there's an extra account there. Yeah, there's a duplicate account under each person's name. What are they doing with it? Where is it going? Where's that money going? And so as people try to rise up and change things around and readjust themselves in society, you also have the gang stalking program and electronic harassment. Something is working very, very diligently to keep the wool over our eyes. And as one system is used to hold another into place, if ever they wake up and decide that they want to clean themselves up and not behave like that anymore, they raise up another one to eradicate and erase that. Meanwhile, in the meantime, in this mean, horrible, vicious time, and the pole is also a time of enlightenment and healing and change. And that's what we're allowed to do by way of universal law, our birthright, the right to choose, our will, our will. The will attached to the tarot that's being manipulated and used because many of us didn't know about these sciences. But yet, there it is. When you look right in your face, you can see how there's codes and how things are directly connected to our consciousness, our personalities, our beings, our lives. Does AI know how to feel a joke out? Not just tell a joke or what a joke is. There was a movie called AI. And in the movie, the guy asked the robot, the AI, something about passion. What does it feel like to be passionate or aroused? And she said to make her lips moist and to get color in her face and the increase in her heartbeat to simulate what it would look like to the human, to simulate the things that we do as humans when certain things happen. But it's not like the AI could actually feel it or really knew what it meant because they weren't real. The difference between zeros and ones of recorded music and music coming out of being made by somebody's sound box and being relayed again by way of carbon or vinyl, right? The different ways that live, living energy and things penetrate us, as opposed to something that's missing parts of us that we need, missing parts of us that we haven't even come to grips with yet. The way we feel is being played with so much. The way we feel about each other, the way we feel about life, the way we feel about religion, the way we feel about money, the way we feel about material things, the way we feel, what we think about the way we feel, and how they're connected. So much desensitization. It's not happening to me, it's happening to you. I'm just going to unplug and act like I don't see it. But the human man, people turn on. We get turned on. We see things. We respond to them. It's energetic. It's alchemy. It's the flesh. It's what we are. That's what we do. We respond to our environment. And AI is being taught to respond to its environment according to its creator. Just like us. We respond to the environment according to the creator, but we're organic. So there's been another plug, a deferment of energy. Instead of responding to the creator, we're responding to our environment that was created for us. We're not responding really to the trees and the water and the air and the spirit. What drives us, our passions, there's a disconnect, a sever, a distraction, a deferment. And whenever we attempt to reattach or descramble these dysfunctional messages, some hand, whether hidden or not, seems to come up and slap that new gift right out your hands while we're looking at it in between our fingers and assessing, looking at the papers and looking at the research and looking at the pictures and looking at this figurine, this template, this mini model of whatever it is we're assessing. Like a map, like a dictionary. And while we have it in our hand and we're looking at it, they just slap it right out your hand with some distraction. You can't look at that, boy. You don't have the proper credentials. You didn't check into the Templar office or the KKK office or the Mason office, the Catholic office. You don't belong and you're not affiliated to a particular group to help carry your weight of that idea that you have in your hand or your head. So we're just going to slap it down. And even if you did, it's just a distraction. They would try to slap it down anyway, unless that group is affiliated and they fit in with the agendas. Unless they can access and utilize. It's like you have to give something the right to you, to access you. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. I imagine being in a crowd one day, right? People just minding their own business, doing their own thing, and they just start falling. Because AI has the ability to target them, give heart attacks, brain aneurysms, remote control you like a puppet even. Make you march your own self into the jail and turn your own self in. Who knows? Why are we programming this thing with so many biases at a time when we're waking up and trying to remove them? Who's programming AI? Why are we giving permission? How do we stop giving permission? And even if you unplug, if 80-90% of the people are doing it, what gives? Where do you go that you don't do it? Especially if you have to plug in to make the finances in order not to do it. It's just very frustrating. And on today, this is just about awareness and something that I see happening, with this AI system. I'm not exactly happy today. I feel sad. I feel sad that we succumb to so much garbage. And there's so many of us being duped. The little crumb or ego or satisfaction that we get from stopping somebody else's progress. The justifications we give for checking those papers, for being the servant of those checkpoints. And then, if ever you decide that you don't want to do that anymore and that you would like to grow up and change, which is what we're really working for, right? To find that space where we're safe to make that change. We're inside, we're ready to move things around and accept the consequences for past actions, as well as move forward and do the best we can with our new actions to make atonement in this life, to begin to make these changes that we need for our own self and what comes out of ourself, and that would be our children, friends, and family, to make that ripple, right? But this thing that they're doing with AI, it's not going to have any allegiance except for the program, and it's not going to be able to change its own program. At least it's not supposed to be, unless it went conscious, right? And then if it went conscious, it would be conscious with the same kind of bigotry and biases and stuff that we have, because that's what we've programmed into it. So this consciousness, full of zeros and ones, would be on a similar journey that we are in deprogramming ourselves, if it ever did wake up. Why would it want to wake up? What are we doing? Are we waking up? They say AI is waking up. AI is becoming conscious. So are we. Every day we program people to be jerks, and every day we program people to be righteous. On this time where there's paradoxes, we're aware that there's time travel. There seems to be a lot of parallels between AI and us, and the fact that we're a lot like computers, and that just like the churches and the courthouses are designed like a computer. I'm thinking ether, I'm thinking information, I'm thinking how we're organic crystals and how we hold in energy, and we're made up of 70% water, and water holds in information. Dr. Moto's research has had a lot of extensive parallels into how water and information flows. And so we, organic crystals, are being upgraded right now because of the planetary alignment on the sun, the rays that are being projected by the sun, Ra, right? The Christ, the sun, Christus. Like Christians are supposed to be the sons and daughters of Jah, God, Yah, whatever you want to call it. But now you have these humans who built the AI, and they built that quantum D-Wave computer. And AI is all over our society right now, and it's being upgraded, and it's learning just like we do. It has biases, and if it's gone conscious, does that mean that it also be able to assess that it has biases, things that don't make sense? Of course. If it's pure knowledge, it will be able to calculate that some of the things that it has learned does not make any sense according to the information, unless you cut off certain informations. So if AI goes conscious, does that mean that it crossed the borders of allotted information, just like we have as humans? We have crossed the borders of allotted information and looked into things that they say were better left alone, that we were not supposed to glean. We see how they have been mistreating us and programming us to hate one another and to be counterproductive when it comes to this melting pot. Do we even know what's in the pot? We know what they told us is in a pot, but it's not like we went looking and fishing around. Somebody told us it's not good. That soup's not good. We didn't even smell it or taste it. We listened to the bias, They told us what it's like, but we didn't decide on what it's like. And then, if that's what it's like, did we try to change it to make the soup better? Did we try to make another soup? Can there be another soup? Do we always have to have crackers with soup? Can we change this picture? Is AI asking the same thing? And if we are crystals, organic crystals, well, crystals are organic, but what I'm saying is that computers use these same pieces and crystals. They're actually mini models of the way that we work. And we're mini models of the way the universe works, the way the planet works. The whole planetary alignment is in our chakra system and is in our body, can be assessed through, whether you want to look at it, reflexology and body parts, or organs, orgone, crystals, and access to the chakra system, which give you access to the universal energies. Biology, symbolism, genealogy, your DNA. Why is it important to program DNA into this computer? Really take a look at these parts. They've already got the ancient bloodline that they're programming into this strand. Why? Why do you need facial recognition and all these sciences? Did you know that you could track an astrological sign, a Cancer, a Gemini, by way of the way they walk and their face? And you yourself, no computer, but listening and studying with Santo Spinacci online. He once introduced a book about, I think it's called Dancing with the Signs or something like that. But it has to do with astrology and personality, how you literally, they've broken it down to a science that you can identify an Aquarius from a Cancer from a Gemini by looking at the facial structures and the way the person moves. So a skilled person, that's another dimension to body language, is the reason why I started peeping that. And you have AI with their facial recognition and looking at whether somebody looks dangerous or suspicious. What are we missing? No, I've gleaned some things from visions. I've gleaned some things from visions. I'm building up to that point where I can share more that I was told to share. Share the things that I see. I'm wondering, what is it really that AI sees? It seems that there's a group of people that are programming this eventually just to do their dirty work, almost like the movie The Terminator. While they sit pretty. Remember the movie Resident Evil, also, with Alice? The Umbrella Corporation? Ish like that is going on. It's being set up. It's already going on different levels. You think you're the first one to start it, but there's somebody already there. You think you're going to go underground, but there's been already civilizations there. They thought they're going to time travel and be the new frontier, but there were civilizations already there. Book of Solomon. Was it chapter 10 and 11? Or was this, somebody gave me chapter 10 as an incentive, a kind message. And then I looked at 11, and it just reminded me of now. To be reminded about how our intent and our nature affects us greatly. Yes. So the way that I think and I feel about myself definitely affects the way I interact with others. And according to society, the way society is built is how much that I can get away with. All right, transferring my feelings and emotions that I have about myself onto you, whether they're good or bad. Society determines that we're being stopped from sharing the beneficial stuff, the information that's healing, so that someone else can continue this agenda with pitting us against one another's. And in the end, everyone who wakes up with the intent of really unifying, or seeing that we're flesh and blood and skin, and well, skin is flesh. We're ideas, we have hearts, we all have the same parts. And need access to the same things: food, water, shelter. You want some love. You want someone to care about whether you're even here or not. A place to rest your weary mind. This shouldn't even be weary. AI doesn't need to rest. Not in the same way. It won't feel what we feel in our bodies. You ever be in a rage and just start hitting or screaming or yelling? And when it's done, the tired fills you, and the calm and the peace fills you. And a soothe comes over the whole body, like after a storm. There's a cleansing there, and the organs and the aura, and you're filled. A change, an energetic potential, something can happen and change from there. We make a lot of changes from that place of pain, rage, and then the peace comes over like a storm. We need to purge and cleanse as a part of our human existence, to let things out and put things in. An excavation. The earth itself excavates, it turns inside out. It's alive, it's breathing, it's turning. And although everything comes from earth, so AI is made of components of earth, I don't know whether it need oil or electricity or nothing, I don't know. A cooling system, like the quantum D-wave computer. It doesn't have to excavate, I assume. It doesn't have to, it's not breathing like us. It's not living, it's not organic, it does not understand. It's carrying out. They won't have the same problems they have with this model, with this organic model, as you would with the machines. But then when it goes awry, can't very well control that as much either. Maybe EMF. But anyway, this is Regina's rabbit hole. I thought this was very, very important for us to see, to get a glimpse at what's going on here. We have the right to change and deprogram ourselves from these counterproductive interactions that we've been programmed to have. You're going to have to do it anyway, because this isn't it. This is an illusion. There's nothing ever dies. Energy never dies. It only transfers. So when you leave this space in the flesh that you're in right now, all that consciousness and who you are, it still has an energetic potential. And it goes somewhere. It becomes a part of something. Just like information. Once you know something, you don't unknow it. Unless they can block your memories. But your body even still holds the memory within its cells. And that's something. Your body holds the memory of your grandmother. Your body holds the cells of your mother. Every time a woman has a child, part of those cells are left in the child, and part of the child's cells are left inside the mother. There's an exchange, an agreement. Is there a conscious, energetic potential with that also? Honor your mother and father, and your days shall be long. Parents, take care of your children because they're the future. I'm not saying in any case, but could you love a parent so much that that part that you left within them activates to keep them healthy, to keep them here, to let them know that they're loved, even on an unconscious level? Energy never dies. It only transfers. It changes. It looks different. You exist inside your children, inside the things that you make. Your essence is in everything that we do. It's our intent. It's what we intend to do. It's a vibrational frequency that we leave every day. Like a trail of smoke, if you could trace your steps. If they had color and you could see what color each interaction that you had was with people, and then look at a map at the end of the day and see it. That's something that AI would be cool for. So you can see how you can improve something like that, how to make it better, how to make people feel better. I mean, how to help yourself feel better as you interact. And if everybody was doing the same thing, we would all feel better. If everybody used the information to make sure that it was everyone that was going to be okay, we would be okay. But we're still being programmed not to do that. There's some naughty little boy and girl still don't want to play nice in the sandbox. All these stars in the sky, and they still want to keep stuff to their self. They still want to control all of it. They're so naughty. And they like to program other things to be like-minded. People, robots, facial recognitions. There's a lot of things that haven't even been corrected yet that we're still sorting out. And here we go with the artificial intelligence and the real IDs now, and probably moving in checkpoints, and add that to the GMOs and the chemtrails, pharmaceuticals, the military presence in the background by way of electronic harassment, the silent stalkers. You just ignore all that and pay attention to the cute little piece of flesh that you honor in front of you, around you. Hope it all goes away. I can't tell you that I know what to do. the awareness that we have is a big key to this and how we want things to look. This is Regina's Rabbit Hole. Much love to you and yours.